We thank the Most High God for this day. We thank the Most High God for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, the ability to praise His high and holy name in truth and in righteousness. And we we thank Jehovah King for our lives, food, clothing, and shelter. We ask that the Most High God continue to be with us and bless us, and continue to protect us from all harm seen and the unseen harm. Hoping that the Most High God be with all of us in our lives, and that Yahweh continue to protect His people scattered in the four corners of the earth. That the Most High God continue to be with all those who reverence Him and call upon His name and His name alone. That don't couple His name with any other God, any other entity, any other man. And we glorify Him and Him alone because He deserves the glory. And unto Him all honor and all glory is due. We almost say hallelujah and give glory unto this great King who has brought us back from the ignorance of Christianity, the ignorance of religion, and brought us back and has given us an identity in even these the lands of our captivities. And we have to give thanks unto the Creator for all those things. Thanking the Most High God for life. Thanking the Most High God for the food that He fed me with this Shabbat evening, and it was great. And we got to give thanks to the Creator for everything He does for us. You know, we have in captivity we have so much, and He gives us so much. You know, we a little bit too comfortable in this captivity, and it's like we don't being this comfortable is like, you know, it doesn't allow us to see our way back home. But like I always say, it's going to get worse before it gets better, because we have to make this exodus out of this place. This place has taught us to rebel against the laws of God. Everything that's wrong is right, and everything that's right is wrong in this place. So we have to, as God's people, come back and be steadfast in the things that the Most High God commanded us to do. Um, we have to stay focused and be focused on the things that we're supposed to do. As we read on in the history of the book of Joshua, you're going to see that as the people begin to go back into the land, that Joshua was a general, and he also was he was pretty much, I mean, he had things set up already by Moses. Moses already left them the blueprint. So, you know, the job was easy for Joshua, but he also kept a strict hand and a strict rule over the people and keeping the law, which is important in this. So the people were a little bit more focused. As we continue to read on, we'll begin to see as we crossed, you know, as we crossed into the land of Canaan, which is known as the land of Israel. Um, now now we begin to see that the Most High God is the Most High God begins to be with His people, and begins to protect us, and begins to do things for us in the midst of all the nations that we are to dispossess at that point. So Shabbat Shalom to everyone in the room. Shabbat Shalom, Deborah B. Um, Elise Transport, Shabbat Shalom. Ashriel Levy, good to see you. Shabbat Shalom, Marcia Reed, and everyone else that might be in the room. Shabbat Shalom to you all. I thank the Most High God for all of your lives, and hope that the Most High God be with you all. So we're going to pick it up from where we left off last week. As you know, the people crossed the river Jordan, and now we are on the other side of the Jordan, which is the land, our land, the land of Israel. And we are going to go into the book of Joshua chapter 4. The book of Joshua chapter 4, verse 1. It happened when the entire nation had finished crossing the Jordan, Yahweh spoke to Joshua, saying, Take yourselves 12 men from the people, 1 man from each tribe, and command them, saying, Carry for yourselves from here, from the middle of the Jordan, from the station of the feet of the Kohanim, making ready 12 stones, and bring them across with you and set them in the lodging place where you will spend the night. So now, the Most High God commanded Joshua to tell the men, 12 men from each tribe, to come as we cross the Jordan unto the other side, into the land of Canaan, or the land of Israel. He's telling them to take 12 stones from the bed of the river, from the bottom of the river, because remember, we crossed on dry land. The Most High God made it to be like in the time of crossing the Sea of Reeds. The same thing happened with the Jordan. So now the Most High commands Joshua to have us, each tribe, to pick a stone from the bottom of the Jordan and to bring it to the place where we're going to lodge for that night. Because although we're coming in, it was an effort. Remember, the Most High caused us to make preparation in order to cross over, because it was going to be a task. We had to bring the people across. We had to bring animals across, babies, all types of things. So, as we came across, the Most High God commanded them to get stones from the bed of the river, from the bottom of the river, because he wants them to do something and set them in the place, or in the lodging place, in the place where they're going to spend the night or a few days on the other side of the Jordan, which is the land of Canaan. Verse 4, Joshua summoned the 12 men whom he had prepared from the children of Israel, one man from each tribe, and Joshua said to them, pass before the ark of Yahweh, your God, into the middle of the Jordan, and each of you lift up yourselves one stone upon his shoulder, corresponding to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel. So one stone for each tribe. So they want, they have to do this in uniformity, and everyone has to follow the strict instructions of Joshua that's being passed down from the Most High God. So that this will be a sign in your midst when your children ask tomorrow, saying, of what significance are these stones to you? You shall tell them, they signify that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and when it crossed the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off, and these stones shall remain a remembrance for the children of Israel forever. So the stones will serve as a remembrance forever to the children of Israel, meaning that we will never forget, because it will be a monument. These will be monuments forever, so that the people, when our children, meaning in the times to come, in the future, when generations have died out, the story will be passed down from generation to generation, the significance of these 12 stones, signifying that the 12 tribes of Israel crossed over the river Jordan when the land was given to the nation as it was promised, centuries before, to our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the promise that the Most High made with them is coming to fruition right at this moment. So the Most High has commanded Joshua that each tribe picks up a stone from the bed of the river, so that it will be a memorial and a remembrance, and then no one will forget it as time goes past. Let us move on. It reads, verse 8, the children of Israel did so as Joshua commanded. They carried 12 stones from the Jordan, as Yahweh had told Joshua, corresponding to the number of the tribes of children of Israel, and brought them across them to the lodging place and set them there. Verse 9, Joshua erected 12 other stones in the middle of the Jordan, under the station of the feet of the Kohanim, the bearers of the Ark of the Covenant, and they remain there to this day. The Kohanim, the bearers of the Ark, were standing in the middle of the Jordan unto the completion of the entire procedure that Yahweh had commanded Joshua to tell the people, according to all that Moses commanded Joshua. The people hastened and crossed. So now, remember at the beginning when we read the previous chapter, the Kohanim had to go first with the Ark, and the people had to stay behind at a certain distance. So while the Kohanim went into the middle of the Jordan, they had to stand there and let the whole congregation of the people go past, and then the Kohanim were the ones were the last ones to come out of the Jordan. So basically, they went in first. The people passed them. They stood still in the Jordan, and then when everything was set, when Joshua, it says that Joshua took 12 stones and put them in the river as also as a memorial. And then after that was done, then the priests, the Kohanim, the priests, they came out. And it reads, verse 11. It happened when the entire people had completed crossing the ark of Yahweh, the Kohanim passed in front of the people, and the children of Reuben and the children of Gad and the half tribe of Manasseh crossed on before the children of Israel, as Moses had spoken to them. About 40,000 armed men of the legion passed before Yahweh to the battle, to the plains of Jericho, on the day Yahweh exalted Joshua in the eyes of Israel, and they revered him as they had revered Moses all the days of his life. And it happened when the entire people had completed crossing the ark of Yahweh, and the Kohanim passed in front of the people. The children of Reuben, the children of Gad, and half the tribe of Manasseh on before the children of Israel, as Moses has spoken. It says here, here's a comment. Yet another miracle. After the nation had crossed, the Kohanim stepped back to the east bank, whereupon the wall of the water crashed back into the riverbed, separating the people from the Kohanim. Then the ark rose, lifting the Kohanim with it. That's a little bit of the stuff that I'll be talking about, that the ark rose and lifting the Kohanim with it. It wasn't really that. It was that the people crossed, the Kohanim went ahead, the people crossed, went ahead, and then the Kohanim came behind them and went past them again, and then the river came back into his normal self, and back to the flood stages and stuff like that. So that's why I spoke to you last week and said sometimes you get some good stuff out of the commentary, and then sometimes you get some iffy stuff that's not in the Tanakh. So that's why you have to be, just like I read that, you have to be careful with the commentary sometimes that you get, and you have to use your own perception and see what's on the lines and not what's between the lines, because sometimes what's in between the lines is what gets you to be thinking so far out that it makes no sense to what the chapter is actually saying. The Most High made this, and he gave us this book with simple ways so that a person with simple understanding will be able to understand and take it. All those other books, if you want to study them, that's up to you. That's your prerogative. I will never tell a man and a woman not to gain wisdom, not to gain knowledge, but all knowledge that you gain is not good, and you can't add it onto the scriptures and make it scriptures, and that's the mistake that a lot of people make. All right. So let us see. Verse 13. About 40,000 armed men of the legion passed before Yahweh for the battle to the plains of Jericho, on the day Yahweh exalted Joshua in the eyes of all Israel, and they revered him as they had revered Moses all the days of his life. So after all the acts that Joshua did, and he commanded the Kohanim to go into the water, and the water opened up, and all these things happened, now Joshua was exalted in the eyes of the people as Moses was, because now the people see, well, Joshua actually has power. He actually has some type of clout. He actually has some type of some rapport with the Most High, because things are happening just like it happened with Moses. So now he was exalted by the Most High in the eyes of the people. Joshua didn't exalt himself, and that's the mistake that a lot of people make. They like to exalt themselves. They give themselves these titles. They give themselves these great they attribute themselves to so many great things, but the best accolades that you could get is not by you patting your own self in the back. It's by letting others do it for you. It's let others say how great you are. And even when people say how great you are, you play it down. It said the more humble that you are, the more exalted that you will be. The Most High God will put you on that pedestal. So it's best to be more on the humble side than to be on the exalted side, because that patting yourself on the back will get you nowhere. So at this point, you see Joshua is exalted by the Most High. There's no better exaltation than the exaltation that the Most High God brings upon the sons of men. So this is what's going on at this time. The people are starting to respect Joshua. on a different light, not just as a general, but also the leader of the nation at this point. Verse 15. Yahweh spoke to Joshua, saying, Command the Kohanim, bearers of the ark of the testimony, that they shall ascend from the Jordan. So Joshua commanded the Kohanim, saying, Ascend from the Jordan. It happened when the Kohanim, the bearers of the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, ascended from the middle of the Jordan, that the soles of the Kohanim's feet were removed to the dry ground. The waters of the Jordan returned to their place and flowed as they had yesterday and before yesterday upon all its banks. So Joshua commanded them to come out of the Jordan. As soon as they came out of the Jordan, they walked out of the Jordan. They didn't float up. They walked out of the Jordan. Then the waters came back to its normal place as it was the day before and the day before the day before. So everything went back to normal. Verse 19. The people ascended from the Jordan on the 10th of the first month. So now this is the first month. We're going into our land. It's ironic that we're going into our land on the first month on our new year, right? So the 10th, it says right here, when your children, just trying to find one point right here. Verse 19, the people ascended from the Jordan on the 10th of the first month. So now who remembers on the 10th of the first month what we're supposed to do? You could write it down. Well, on the first of the on the first month, on the 10th day of that first month, we're supposed to set aside the land for the Pesach so that it doesn't get damaged, nothing happens to it. So the Most High God is bringing us in. He's bringing us into our land with what coincides with when we left Egypt at that time. Because remember, we left during the time of the Pesach. So now he's bringing us back 40 years later into the land, coinciding with the Pesach, or around the season of Pesach. So this is the greatness of our great King, because he wants us to observe this time in our land. So we going in there and we see what's going on. And I could imagine that it's a joyous time that the people went across there singing the song that Moses had written, which is in Deuteronomy chapter 32, I believe, the song of Moses. And the people were just joyous and they were uplifted because, remember, you're going home now. This is what your parents been talking about for so long. This is how, what the elders been talking about and what we've been in this wilderness for. So sometimes you see when little hard work and a little patience pays off, and the people were happy at this point and they were uplifted. Verse 19, the people ascended from the Jordan on the 10th, the first month, and encamped at Gilgal at the eastern end of Jericho. And these 12 that from the Jordan, Joshua erected at Gilgal. So Joshua erected it at Gilgal. He spoke to the children of Israel, saying, when your children ask their fathers tomorrow, saying, what are these stones? You shall inform your children, saying, Israel. You shall inform your children, saying, Israel crossed this Jordan on dry land. For Yahweh your God dried up the waters of the Jordan before you until you crossed, as Yahweh your God did to the sea of reeds, which he dried up before us until we crossed, so that all the peoples of the earth will know the hand of Yahweh, that it is mighty, so that you will fear Yahweh your God all the days. So now, he dried up the Jordan, just like he did the Sea of Reeds, which is we know as the Red Sea. So there was many of the generation that crossed over, because remember, only the Most High wiped out those that were 20 and older because of what they did when they murmured against the Most High God, when they murmured against Moses. So it's a young nation that's going into this land. So a lot of things they didn't witness or they were too young to see. This is a nation full of people 40 or 39 and under. You understand what I'm saying? This is a nation full of people of 39 years and under. You had Joshua and Caleb, and some people say the Levites and the Kohanim or whatever that made it in there because they all came to the side of the Most High God. But for most part, you see that it's a young nation. So being a young nation, the Most High God had to show them, the wonders and the things that He does, so that it will be ingrained in their minds, so that they will be able to pass it down to their children. So the Most High also to this generation made them see the wonder of causing that river to roll back. You understand what I'm saying? And in this way, the people will understand and know that, hey, what our forefathers were telling us was not lies. For this God is a mighty God, and He causes things to happen. Let me see. We're now in the book of Joshua, chapter 5, verse 1. And it reads, give me 1 second here. It happened that when all the Amorite kings who were on the western side of the Jordan, and all the Canaanite kings who were by the sea, heard that Yahweh had dried up the Jordan's waters for the sake of the children of Israel until they had crossed, their hearts melted. There was no longer any spirit within them because of the children of Israel. This is called the dread of the Most High God. The dread of the Most High God came upon these people, all the kings to the west and to the east of us, because they seen is the stream, if the stream is good now, just give me a 1. I know it paused for a little second, but that happens sometimes with the internet service. So if the stream is good now, just give me a 1. So at this point, like I was saying, the fear of the Most High God came upon all these people, and all these people are beginning to fear. It's not anything of our own, because we weren't that great of warriors. The Most High God put the fear of us in the people because He was our protector. So when we see that, and it's just a testament to the Most High God, and to show that the Most High God is the Almighty and all powerful, and that He will put the fear of us in all the nations. So we coming into the nation, on a high note, people fearing us, people understanding that God is with us, and that He's our protector. And it reads, verse 2, at that time, Yahweh said to Joshua, make sharp knives for yourselves, and circumcise the children of Israel again a second time. So Joshua made sharp knives for himself, circumcised the children of Israel at Gibeath Haralut, the hill of the foreskins. This is the reason why Joshua circumcised them. The entire people had gone forth from Egypt, the males, all the men of war, had died in the wilderness on the way after they went forth from Egypt. All the people that went forth were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness on the way after they went forth from Egypt were not circumcised, because for 40 years the children of Israel journeyed in the wilderness until the demise of the entire nation. The men of war who went forth from Egypt had not heeded the voice of Yahweh, about whom Yahweh has sworn not to show them the land of Yahweh, that land, Slikah, to show them the land that Yahweh has sworn to their fathers to give us, a land flowing with milk and honey. But He raised their children in their stead when Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised, since they did not circumcise them on the way. So now, it gives the whole explanation there. The whole reason for the children having to be circumcised, or the men at this point, is because their parents, it says the men that left out of Egypt were circumcised. They were in how do you say, they was lockstep with the law at that point. But remember, the Most High God wiped away all the men 20 years old and upwards. So at this point, the babies that were being born, they weren't being circumcised. And now when we're going into the land, we got to enter that covenant, that covenant that he made with Abraham in the book of Genesis chapter 17, where the Most High God said that he will be our God and we'll be his people. So when we see that, now the Most High wants to put everything in perspective. It didn't matter how old you were. And this is one of the questions that someone said that, they were asking last week about whether or not, the circumcision is, if it's on the 8th day, and if you don't do it on the 8th day, if you do it on any other day, are you still, listen, if you just come into this way of life and you a grown person, you have to be circumcised to be in the covenant. You have to go take care of that. You know what I'm saying? As a teenager, I went in and did it. And there have been some people that was older than me that did it. But you have to go get circumcised to be in the covenant. Don't matter what state, once you find out that you are a child of the Most High and you are the children of Israel, then that is one of the first things that you have to do. Go and get that circumcision done. So at this point, Joshua has to make knives to circumcise all these children. He has to go through the whole nation. Well, not children, grown men too. Short arm inspections. They had to go through everybody. And it gives the explanation of why the men are not circumcised. So, sometimes things happen. It shows that we weren't perfect in everything that we did, that we were, regular people. But at this point, now that we're in the land, these things have to be done and they have to be taken care of so that we'll be in compliance with the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, which is that every male among you shall be circumcised. So that's what's going on. All right, the streaming is fine now. Great. And it reads, verse 9. Yahweh said to Joshua, no, let me see verse 8. When all the nation have finished being circumcised, they remain in their place in the camp until they have recuperated. So they were recuperating. They had to take a little time because, after a circumcision, you're going to be sore. Verse 9, Yahweh said to Joshua, today I have rolled away the disgrace of Egypt from upon you. He named that place Gilgal, rolling to this day. So Joshua said he has rolled away. So that was like a reproach. I guess Egyptians didn't circumcise themselves, and it was like a reproach. So at this point, Joshua said he has rolled away the reproach of Egypt. Now we are our own nation, and now we standing, being a sovereign state, standing on our own, not depending on anyone but the creator of heaven and earth at this point. And this is a great time in the history of the nation of Israel. And we see this was a great time. We don't look at this time as a great time, but it was one of our greatest times in history as a nation. Verse 10. The children of Israel encamped at Gilgal and performed the Pesach offering on the 14th day of the month in the evening in the plains of Jericho. So they were out there encamping, celebrating the Pesach and just having joy, just having joy. They ate from the aged grain of the land. They ate from the aged grain of the land on the day after the Pesach offering, matzos and roasting grain on this very day. So it says they ate from the aged grain of the land on the day after Pesach offering, matzos and roasting grain on the very day. So this is where a lot of us brothers that are not like part of the calendar coalition, we look to that and say they ate of the grain on the day after, right? Because you're supposed to start counting the Omer, and on the day after, after the Shabbat. So there's a contention with that, with the brothers with the calendar coalition, the brothers who are not, but for whatever's worth, this is not the night for that, to get into that or to go back and forth about that. We just know that they ate grain, they ate the produce of the land, the aged grain, and they were happy at this point. The people were happy because they were in their land. Verse 12. The manna was depleted the following day when they ate from the aged grain of the land. There was no longer any manna for the children of Israel. They ate from the grain of the land, of the land of Canaan that year. So now, this is also symbolism. You know, the manna being depleted or taken away, it symbolizes that we always depend on the Most High, but now the Most High made us a self-sufficient nation. We are in the land is growing produce, we are self-sufficient, and now we have to go and cultivate the land and be agricultural and do all the things, because no longer is the Most High God gonna be, you know, giving us everything and supplying food for us. Now we have to go work for it, like he said at the beginning, by the sweat of your brow, like he told Adam. So now at this point, he stops the manna, and now, boom, we right into it, and we in our land, and we have to start getting comfortable with our new abode. You know, it's like, you know, when you first move into an apartment, into a house, you kind of feel funny there. First couple of days, it doesn't feel quite like your home yet. And then as you start living there a little bit longer, you begin to feel more comfortable and begin to feel like this is your home. You know, let's see. Verse 13. It happened when Joshua was in Jericho that he raised his eyes and saw. And behold, a man was standing opposite him with his sword drawn in his hand. Joshua went toward him and said to him, "Are you with us or with our enemies?" So Joshua see a man with his sword drawn. So at this point, you know, Joshua he's a war general also. So he stepped right to that guy. So he pulls out his sword and he steps to him. He said, "Are you with us or are you against us?" So verse 14, he said, "No, for I am the commander of Jehovah's legion. Now I have come." Joshua fell before him to the ground and prostrated himself and said to him, "What does my master say to his servant?" So he said, I'm the captain of the host of the Most High God. That's what he told him. He told Joshua. So Joshua automatically, boom, this is a higher being than I. This is of the Most High. He hit the floor and prostrated himself and paid respect. So Joshua said, "What does my master say to his servant?" Verse 15, the commander of Jehovah's legion said to Joshua, "Remove your shoe from upon your foot, for the place upon which you stand is holy." And Joshua did so. So now he told him to remove his shoes, because where he stood at, it was a holy place. We go into chapter 6 now. Kind of breezing through this tonight. All right. Chapter 6. See where we at right now. Depends on how long we're going to go tonight. I hope that everybody's fine out there. Hope that Most High God bless us all. We're in the book of Joshua, chapter 6, verse 1. Jericho was completely sealed before the children of Israel. No one left and no one entered. So they besieged the city of Jericho. They besieged this place, and they surrounded it. This is the children of Israel I'm speaking about. Yahweh said to Joshua, "See, I have delivered into your hand Jericho and its king, the mighty warriors. You shall go around the city, all the men of war, circling the city one time. Thus shall you do for a period of 6 days." So what the Most High wants Joshua to do with the people is, for 6 days, circle the city one time for 6 days. Each day you circle the city one time. All right, that's for 6 days. And 7 Kohanim shall carry 7 ram shofars before the ark. On the 7th day you shall go around the city 7 times, and the Kohanim shall blow with the shofars. It shall be that upon an extended blast with the ram's horn, when you hear the sound of the shofar, all the people shall cry out with a great cry, and the wall of the city will drop down in its place, and the people shall advance, and each man straight ahead. So now the Most High God is giving Joshua the plan of what he wants him to do. Listen, this is what thus and thus and thus. The first 6 days you surround the city, you go around the city one time. On the seventh day, you go around the city 7 times. You bring the Kohanim, the 7 Kohanim, right? With shofars, with ram's horns. He said, and when I tell you to scream and yell and to blow, that's when you do it and the walls will come down. And, this is a amazing sound because it had to been that, sound could bust your eardrums. So people think that sound is just sound, but sound has force. And if you like, for example, a speaker, right? You ever see how a speaker flutters? That's sound. That's just wind. What we say is just wind. But if it's pressurized enough, it could bust the cone of the speaker, the woofer. It could bust the tweeter. And those of you who know about music, that's what happens. So this is basically what's happening in Jericho. This sound was so piercing that as we go along, we'll see into the history. But that's what happens. The force in which we scream will cause the walls to come down. And this will also show the power of the Most High God and the strength of the Most High God. Because it's not by strength, not by might, but it was by the will of the Most High that we made it through and that we came through in our victories. And God, Yahweh wants to point that out to us, and he wants to show that to us that, hey, listen, nothing that you did came of your own, and everything that you got came because of me. So give me my credit. The Most High don't want us giving his credit to anyone else, or to no one thing, to no man, to no prophet. It cost Moses his life for not separating himself from the Most High God, not sanctifying the name of the Most High God, and putting them all in the same breath. So I don't care what man it is, who you say he was and how he was. There is no man that walked on this earth, no being that walked on this earth that can be compared or given the credit that is given to the creator of heaven and earth, Yahweh. Hallelujah. Verse 6. Joshua son of Nun summoned the Kohanim and said to them, carry the ark of the covenant. 7 Kohanim shall carry 7 ram shofars before the ark of Yahweh. He said to the people, advance and go around the city. Let the armed troop pass before the ark of Yahweh. So now remember in the previous chapters that the Most High God that Joshua sent the spies to Rahab the harlot. So they already know the ins and outs of the city. They know what's going on. They know what they need to do. They just have to follow the command of the Creator so that everything will go well with them. So at this point, they're surrounding the city. They're doing all that they're supposed to do. And Joshua is putting the plan into effect. Verse 6, Joshua son of Nun summoned the Kohanim and said to them, carry the ark of the covenant. 7 Kohanim shall carry 7 ram shofars before the ark of Yahweh. He said to the people, advance and go around the city. Let the armed troop pass before the ark of Yahweh. Verse 8, it happened that as soon as Joshua spoke to the people, the 7 Kohanim carrying 7 ram shofars before the ark of Yahweh advanced and blew with the shofars, and the ark of the covenant of Yahweh went after them. The armed troop went before the Kohanim, who blew the shofars, and the rear guard went after the ark, walking and blowing with the shofar. Joshua commanded the people, saying, you shall not cry out, you shall not let your voice be heard, nor shall any word issue from your mouth until the day I tell you to cry out. Then you shall cry out. He had the ark of Yahweh go around the city, encircling one time. Then they came back to the camp and lodged in the camp. So now they had to be quiet for those days. They couldn't shout out. They couldn't speak out. Nothing. It was a silent march. This had to be scary for those people in Jericho. For 7 days, these people are going around your city. They under siege. Food is not coming in. It's not going out. No trade is going in. Nobody could come in. No one could go out. The dread of the Most High God was upon them, and he put the dread of us upon those people. And This is the reality of the people of Jericho at this point. But there was an important thing that we had to follow instruction where it was said they cannot speak a word. I have to be quiet for those times that we're surrounding that city. Be quiet. Verse 12. Joshua rose early in the next morning. Kohanim carried the ark of Yahweh, and the 7 Kohanim carrying the 7 ram shofars for the ark of Yahweh walk onward and blew with the shofars. And the armed troop went before them. The rear guard went after the ark of Yahweh, walking and blowing with the shofars. They went around the city one time on the second day, and they returned to the camp. They did thus for a period of 6 days. So they did this continuously for 6 days. They went around the city one time, blowing the shofar. Verse 15. It happened on the 7th day. They arose early at daybreak, went early in the morning, and they went around the city in this same manner 7 times. So they actually got worn out. And this is the amazing part of it, because you think about walking around the city 7 times. You're going to be tired. But what the Most High God is trying to show us, what he's trying to show us is that, listen, victory do not come from you. I'm going to wear you out, make you walk around here 7 times. But when I give you this victory, you're going to know that it's from me. The Most High wants his credit. That's the thing we have to get through our heads. Sometimes man wants credit and man wants a pat on his back. That's not the type of man that you want to be around. That's not the type of person you want to be around. You want to be around the type of person who always defers credit to the Creator. You don't want the credit for yourself, because that's that you're getting in a tricky thing. Credit comes, people gives you credit, but the more and more accolades and credit people give you, always give it to the Most High. The accolades are going to be there. The credit are going to be there. People are going to acknowledge the goodness that you do. But stop trying to take the credit for yourself. It's not good. It makes you a selfish person, and makes you a person who only thinks about yourself when you're supposed to be giving that credit to the Creator. So at this point, the Most High is trying to show us, listen, man, this is not from you. So let me see. City 7. 14, they went around the city one time and said, no, I already read that. 7th day, verse 16. It happened on the 7th time. Let me read from verse 15. It happened on the 7th day. They arose early at daybreak, and they went around the city in this same manner 7 times. Only on that day, they went around the city 7 times. It happened on the 7th time. The Kohanim were blowing with the shofars. And Joshua said to the people, cry out, for Yahweh had given you the city. The city, it and all that is in it, shall be consecrated property to Yahweh. So everything that's in the city is consecrated property to Yahweh, meaning it cannot be touched. It can't go to our personal coffers. It can't go to any of that. Everything in there, every gold, everything that you see, everything is dedicated to Yahweh. Why? Because the Most High is showing us that this is the first city that we attack, going over into the land of Canaan for the first time. So what is God showing us, and what we should take out of this lesson is this: the first of everything always goes to Yah. And we live our lives that way. If we get, we get paid, we get a new job, and whenever we get paid, and we live our lives that way, and you know what, I'm going to take my percentage out to God first. No matter what bills or whatever you have, I'm giving mine to God first. If we live like that, then God will look out for us, because you know why? We're being considerate. We're thinking about him rather than ourselves first. So that's why we don't go deep into the donation thing and send around baskets, because it's kind of iffy, because Shabbat, and some people feel a funny way about that. But listen, how can congregations run? How can a place where we call upon the name of the Most High God run? How can a website like this run? Or me doing this, and trying to keep up with certain things and buying new programs and keeping stream going, and you have to pay for internet service and do all those things, unless the people give it up. And the Most High God, he's, whatever is being given up to him is really going to the Kohanim, to the priests, for them to put things into play, to feed the poor, the fatherless, the widow, and to look out for people that are in need. So I'm going away from the topic, but what the Most High God is showing us here is that give him his first. And as we go into the land, we got to give him his first. That's why everything was dedicated and it was consecrated. You cannot touch it. It cannot go for your own personal benefit. It was all to God. That first ride around the sun, that first invasion, it was all to the Creator. It's so beautiful. If we think about it that way and we do things that way, then the Most High God will continue he will bless us even more. Put things in perspective. Give to God first. Always do that. Give to God first. Give to God first, regardless of whatever. Give to God first, and God will be with you, no matter how small your money is. If all you could give is $5, then give to God first. That's it. Never mind. You see, people get into things like, oh, I can't, I don't really want to go. I'm going to wait till I could give a little bit more. Listen, the Most High God only wants the willing heart. He wants what you could give at that point. If that's all you got, then that's what has to be accepted. And it reads, verse 19, all the silver and gold and vessels of copper and iron are holy to Jehovah. They shall go to the treasury of Jehovah. So he wants all the gold, the silver, the copper. He wants it all. Verse 20, the people cried out, and the Kohanim blew with the shofar. It happened when the people heard the sound of the shofar that the people cried out with a great shout. The wall fell in its place, and the people went up to the city. So the power of sound broke down the walls, but that was of the Most High, because you hardly see that today. The power of sound broke down the walls, and that's of the Most High. That's greatness right there. The wall fell in its place, and the people went up to the city, each man straight ahead, and they conquered the city. They destroyed everything that was in the city, man and woman, youth and elder, ox and sheep and ass, by the edge of the sword. So everything was destroyed. Remember, we were supposed to go in there and do what we were supposed to do. And it seemed kind of Neanderthalish and crazy, but this was the order of the Most High. Why? Because he didn't want the influence of the nations to come upon us. And as Israel, we have to be very careful in the things that we allow to enter our circles and to influence us, because before you know it, you will be influenced, and then you won't be taking up the battle of the Most High. You'll be taking up some other battle. So we have to really protect ourselves and protect our way of life and our belief and the way that we think about things. You understand? So we have to protect our minds, and we have to protect ourselves. Verse 22. Let me see. Verse 22. To the two men who had spied out the country, Joshua said, go to the house of the woman, the innkeeper, and bring forth from there the woman and all that is hers, as you swore to her. So now, tell them, listen, go to the innkeeper, go to the harlot, and go and do what you're supposed to do. Go in there and keep the promise that you were supposed to keep. And bring her out. So that's what he wants us to do. He wants us to go in there. Joshua commanded them, listen, keep your word that you gave to Rahab the harlot. Give me 1 second. 1 second. As you made the promise to the harlot, go in there, go get her, and whatever's in her house should be safe. So we also have to learn to keep our promises when we say something out of our mouth. This is very important. Very important, and to keep our word. Give me 1 second. So now when we see that, I just have to change up the title real quick because that last week's title, so I have to change up the title real quick. So like I was saying, yeah, we go in there. We have to keep our word, our promises that we made to people, and we have to be honorable. Most High is teaching us to keep our word. We made a promise to Rahab the harlot, and so we have to keep that word, and we have to do what we said out of our mouth. So is at the point, Joshua's telling them, look, go to the prostitute, no matter what she is, and make sure everything in her house is safe. Y'all know where she live at, so make sure everything is told. Now, verse 23. So they entered the youthful ones, the spies, and they brought out Rahab and her father, mother, brothers, and all that was hers. They brought out all her families and placed them outside the camp of Israel. So Rahab had to keep her mouth shut, and sometimes that's the hardest thing to do for some people. But on both ends, just like the children of Israel marching around Jericho had to keep their mouth shut, she could not let the plan be exposed, because if she let the plan be exposed and it leaked out and these people were ready and prepared, then she would not have been spared, her or her family. So she had to make up some type of thing to have her family in the house and keep them in there. And when the destruction started, maybe she told them at that point, listen, this is what's going on. They made a deal with me. They're going to come and keep us safe, and so forth and so on. So sometimes we can't figure out, the Most High said, he spared a harlot. And, when you look at a harlot, we look at them as the bottom of the earth, because they, women that sleep around. But we don't understand God's thoughts and the way he feels and the way that he is, because if he didn't want this, he would have let Joshua know, listen, I don't care about this harlot here, destroy her. But man proposes things, but God disposes of them. So we can't tell how the Creator works and who he works with. You understand what I'm saying? So here's what we go to verse 23. So they entered, no, verse 24. They burned down the city in fire and everything that was in it. Only the silver, the gold, and the vessels of copper and iron they gave to the treasury of the house of Jehovah. But Rahab the innkeeper and her father's household, and all that was hers, Joshua allowed to live. She dwelled in the midst of Israel until this day, because she hid the messengers that Joshua had sent to spy out Jericho. So she lived happily ever after within the confines of the nation of Israel. So I don't know, I know it wasn't no harlotry going on. It wasn't any of that stuff going on with Joshua, so I don't think she could continue in her profession. I'll just keep it at that. I just keep it at that. So now, her family lived happily ever after with us in Israel. It's a blessing. She got to see the land and see her old age, I figure. Verse 26. Joshua adjured the people at that time, saying, Curse before Jehovah be the man who rises up and rebuilds this city, Jericho. With his firstborn child, he will lay its foundation, and with his youngest, he will set up his gate. So now, Verse 26 here, I'm just trying to find something. I think I have some references here. It says, "Cursed be the man." Joshua wanted the site of Jericho to remain a ruin so that anyone who ever saw it will remember the great miracle, will remember the destruction of the Most High. So he cursed anyone who would build that city again. Said there were two aspects to the prohibition. It was forbidden to build on the ruins of Jericho, and it was forbidden to give the name Jericho to a city anywhere else. That's not actually true. So now this is where I wanted to get to. With this firstborn, with this youngest. This curse came to fruition 5 centuries later. Right? 5 centuries later, that's 500 years later, when Hiel of Bethel defiantly rebuilt Jericho and continued to do so even as his children were dying. 1 Kings chapter 16 verse 34. This punishment fits the crime because someone builds a city seeking immortality for himself and expecting his children to inherit his accomplishment. Hiel was robbed of his prestige and his family name went into oblivion, so which is true. When you look into the book of 1 Kings, chapter 16, verse 34, you will see the man who did dare to build this city after Joshua cursed it and was cursed for it not to be rebuilt. And if you did, you was going to pay the price for rebuilding. So this is what's going on at this time. So that was some good commentary there, and also it refers you back to the Tanakh. So remember that. 1 Kings chapter 16 verse 34. That's where you could see the man who actually who built Jericho again, and because of that, it cost him very dearly. Verse 27. Jehovah was with Joshua, and his renown was spread through the entire land. So the Most High God was with the great man Joshua, who was a prophet and a general, and the Most High God exalted him, like I said. Hoping and praying that you've gotten something out of this night, out of this lesson. I thank the Most High God for your lives, for food, clothing, and shelter once again. And then may the Most High God bless you all. May the Most High God be with you. May the Most High God protect you. I thank the Most High God for this time. And, sometimes you feel a little bit tired, but what happens is that, the dedication that you have for the people and the things that you and the things that you do, I do them from the heart, so this, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but this is from the heart, this is in my DNA. I love to do this. And my biggest concern all the time is that when I'm conveying the message, that you're getting something out of it. When I'm bringing forth the message that you're really learning something, that you're getting something new, that I'm enlightening you, that is not just falling on deaf ears, or that you not really understand. My truly, I always want to come out of these lessons feeling like someone learned something new, or that someone someone got edified from the lesson that was brought forth. Sometimes, a lot of times the lessons are simple, but sometimes we don't go through these lessons, and it would just give you a different insight on things. So I'm hoping that everybody, gets something out of the lessons, that the lessons are really, coming across really good. And I know sometimes, it's Friday night. Sometimes I'm a little bit tired. I know next week the sun is going to be going down a little bit earlier because it's going back to what the Eastern time. Time is falling back, so going back to regular scheduled timing. So probably be coming on a little bit earlier. Try to have Chief Benjamin with me. He made some commitments, so he's probably going to do like a prayer night, and that should be helpful to everyone. So once again, thank you the Most High King for all things and everything. Thanking the Most High King for all of you that are in the room tonight. For, my young brother Ashriel Ben Levy, Shabbat Shalom. To Lease Transport LLC, Deborah B., Marsha Reed, Gwendolyn Lewis, Shabbat Shalom. To Bathsheba Yisrael, Shabbat Shalom. Dina Yisrael, my sister, how are you, sis? Trying to who that is? Who that is? One. Shabbat Shalom. Benjamin Moshe Ben Yisrael, Shabbat Shalom. Have I heard of the 12 tribe chart? Yes, I have. Now I have great information on that. It was a brother that was born in Panama that attended Ben Azai King School of the Ancient Israelites. That was located on Buffalo Avenue. Even before that, when it was located in other locations, that he started with Ben Azai King. His name is Nasi Barak. He's currently living in Hawaii right now. He came to New York like in 2010. I sat down, did an interview with him, and I'm gonna sometime in the near future I'm gonna release that. But he gave a lot of history. So he gave the history, from Ben Azakin when he started to when he went to the Tanakh school. 1 West 125th, I believe, is the address. And he was up there with Pop Bivens, with Abba Bivens, as they called them. And he Nasi Barak, excellent Hebrew teacher. He's a musician, a lot of great things. Makes jewels. It's a great man. He lives in Hawaii at this time. So in the video, he proceeds and he speaks about Pop Bivens, and he says that we asked him about the chart and how did that come about, and he said that Pop Bivens just used the chart as saying, like, identifying each people, from the Caribbean countries or from from different parts of the world of this hemisphere, and identifying them to a certain tribe. It was to draw people and to give them an identity. It wasn't so much that necessarily that the people, if you from Panama, you're Zavulun. No, because you got black people in Panama that most of the black people that came to Panama are not black people of Panama, are not the people that originally were brought there to Panama. They come from the Caribbean islands, from all different type of Caribbean islands, because there was a great migration of black people that came into Panama to build the Panama Canal in the early 1900s. So, you can't say that, come some years later, so there's a volume, but there's a migration that happened in the mid 1800s to the early 1900s into Panama. Black people, great influx from Jamaica, from Barbados, from Grenada, from Trinidad, from Guyana, to come build the canal and to build the railways that were being built down there. So, the chart was just a gimmick that Pop Bivens used, and this is not coming from me. This is coming from someone who was actually there with Pop Bivens in the streets when he used to go into the streets and do all of those things. Pop Bivens also came out of the Commandment Keeper School, under Rabbi Matthews, and he came out of that school. He learned from that school. So, just giving a little education on how all those things transpired. I have the interview with Nasi Barak. These are not my own words. These are words that came out of his mouth, and he was there with Pop Bivens, and he goes on and he speaks about why he left there, why he left certain congregations, and hopefully one of these days in the near future, I'm going to post it up. So thank you the Most High God once again for your lives. Hoping and praying that the Most High God be with you all. Let me see. Shabbat Shalom, Chief. We are doing well, missing our family. Missing y'all too. Let me see if there are any more more questions here. I know I seen a question about what's the difference between Kwanzaa and Hanukkah. It's a great difference. Kwanzaa was created in the in the 1960s by somebody in Philadelphia. You know, um, um, so Hanukkah was the time of the struggle with the Maccabees. You know that they were trying to Hellenize them and make them Greek and worship Greek gods and all those things, but they were not going for it. So they the people didn't go for it, and that's basically it. But there's a great difference. One is about liberation or trying to be independent of people, trying to rededicate the temple. And another one is just something that was made out of the blue. It had no purpose to it. Just, I guess, trying to show a difference. Kwanzaa just trying to show a difference, then try to give the black people an identity here. But black people already have an identity if they look into the Torah, into the Tanakh, and they could find their identity there in all the festivals that we need to keep and observe. So that's all I could think about. Shabbat Shalom, Shavania. You just got in. You caught the end of the lesson, but it's good to see you anyway, sister. May the Most High God bless you. Yeah, but you caught the end of the lesson. And let me see. I don't know if there was another question up there. I don't see the questions up there anymore. I just try to answer the questions at the end. Not at the beginning. So once again, may Yah bless you all. May the Most High God continue to be with you all. If you missed it, you could check it out from the beginning. Check out the whole lesson from the beginning. And next week we will continue in the book of Joshua. We're going to try to complete it, try to do it all, and hope that the Most High God will bless you all. So Bathsheba Yisrael wrote, Kwanzaa originated by Ron Karenga. Yeah, I think in the 1960s in Philadelphia, but don't quote me on that. Shabbat Shalom, Laila Tov, and may the Most High God bless you all. Shalom, shalom.